Hello there and welcome back to another video from Fantasy Football Scout. It's team selection time for Game Week 5, so I am joined by Gianni. Gianni, how you doing? How you finding the international break?
Yeah, I'm loving it if I'm honest, mate. It's been a nice little detox. Although, a week off is enough. I'm ready to go this weekend.
Yeah, I was just saying to you before we started, I really enjoy the enforced break because obviously most of the time you don't want to get away from FPL. So when someone kind of tells you there isn't any FPL, you've got to get away from it, it's much better. But at this point, I'm looking forward to getting back into it. And I'm also looking forward to getting into your team because you had a pretty good week and you've got a key plan for next week. So we'll talk about that in just a second. We'll get onto your points for Game Week 4. I just wanted to quickly say we have teamed up with Fantasy 5. If you haven't already tried this, we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. There's a link in the description. It's a completely free fantasy game. There's 10 grand up for grabs. And basically you just have to beat their points prediction by picking one player for 5 different games. I'll show you later on in the video how it works. But for Chelsea versus Southampton, for example, you just pick one player. Go on to Man City and Arsenal, you just pick one player. It is 18 plus and it is gambling, so be gamble aware. There is a link for that in the description below. And like I said, once we've gone through Gianni's points for Game Week 4 as well as his team selection for Game Week 5, I'll show you what my picks are at the end. So let's get into the good stuff for you because the last few weeks haven't been great. It's been a bit of a struggle, I think it's fair to say, which for FPL is at times and it will be for all of us at certain times in the season. It just feels a bit worse when it's at the start of the season, which is what happened to you. But you've had a good week, 61 points. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I've had an all right week. I mean, 61 is good and it's a green arrow. So, beggars can't be choosers. And I've been a beggar. I mean, it's the worst start to the season I've had by a country mile, Andy. And I've taken a little bit of comfort in a lot of other top FPL managers. Don't like to use that term, but you know what I mean. Have also had a bit of a nightmare. So that's good. There's an argument to say if you're in the top 100k, you've probably got a bit of a terrible team. Anyway.
Wow, that is controversial. That is the way to get the comments in below, that's for
sure. So, look, I mean, yeah, I had a few wins last week, but I also had a few, a few zeros in the back line. Lamptey, Mitchell not registering. Reece James didn't start. I thought he was a banker. But, it's all right. I had Son. So many sold Son, didn't they? And look, no one knew if Mourinho was playing mind games or not. But I felt like with Son, I didn't mind him sitting on my bench because I was like, come Game Week 5, I'm going to want him back in. So I didn't waste the transfer there, which I'm happy about. I never even considered it. I think I spoke about it on this series. And then I captained Sterling, did all right, got the goal. I mean, how Man City scored 1 goal in that fixture. 24 attempts, I think it was. So I've gone for the Man City triple up for 2 weeks now. I've had 1 attacking return from 6 performances. It's been dismal. It's been, look, I ate my words. I said I was going Sterling over Salah for 2 weeks, and I did so. Did it pay off? Absolutely not. And this week would have been a brilliant week if Salah didn't go and score his brace, but he did, and his effective ownership was so high. I think it was the Monday night game. So Salah's brace kind of killed that green arrow a little bit, but it was an okay week.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Obviously, I mean, a lot of teams, my team was the same. It was kind of carried by Salah captain. And, I mean, carry's probably the wrong word, but obviously Sterling did really well for you. And Son in particular with 18 points was pretty incredible, to be honest. And the fact that you kept him when he sold, must be pretty happy about that. I do, yeah, whether or not we knew Mourinho, it did feel a bit like mind games by the end of it. Because it was like, I'm not really sure. Yeah, he might be back. And you just think if he was out, he'd probably just have said it right away. So, yeah, if you sold him, fair enough. That's just unlucky. But the Triple City, I cannot believe you've only had 1 attack and return. Just really quickly before we come on to your team for next week, what do you think the issue is? Do you think they are missing Jesus and Aguero? Do you think they just need that number 9 in there, or is it something else?
No, they just need the number 9. It's that simple. I mean, they're creating the chances, right? 24 attempts, I think it was, against Leeds. They're still dominating the ball. I mean, that was an end-to-end game, which could have ended 5-5. It would have been brilliant for me if it had. But they're just missing a number 9. I mean, I actually think, Sterling's done all right in there at times. We saw in the Carabao Cup, I think it was against Burnley. They looked really good with Sterling as the 9, but it's not going to work for them every time, especially when he's playing against a kind of bigger centre backs or at times a back 5, which I think they were playing against for the first game because the 2 I had them in. So yeah, look, De Bruyne will still produce lots, and he'll produce way more when he's got Jesus or when he's got Aguero to feed off. And we don't know come game week 5 if he'll have one of them. Great to see Aguero back in training, but loads of FPL managers getting excited about that. But look, the guy might be back in training. He's not match fit, ready to go. He's been out for a very long time. I don't think we're going to be seeing Aguero starting Premier League games for a few weeks yet.
Yeah, no, I completely. When I saw that, I could get him back into my team. Surely no one's going there. Like we expected him back at the end of last season, and now how many more weeks has it been? And he's only just back into training. Like I know they really need him or Jesus to come back in because they haven't bought anyone. But also, you don't want to get your star striker injured too quickly when you can see how it's gone so far. So yeah, I agree. I don't think he's going to be thrown straight back in. Surely it's going to be a bit of a slower integration. Let's come on to your team for next week, because you did say after a while you probably would get Salah back. You had 0.8 million in the bank, and Salah's already back. So what transfers have you made this week?
The plan was always Salah for game week 6, right? Because Everton I thought was a tricky fixture, but then it was Sheffield United, it was West Ham, City and Leicester, but I wanted him in for game week 6. But look, watching Liverpool, as I do, I watch all the big games. Watching Liverpool without Salah in your team, Andy, as you know, like all us FPL managers know, if we've been there, if we've not owned Salah, watching Liverpool without him is a horrible, horrible experience. Unlike watching any other player in the game, in my opinion. And look, I wasn't willing to do it again. I knew I'd be watching the Merseyside derby, which, by the way, we'll be doing on Scoutcast Match Day on the Saturday. I knew I'd be watching that. I can't do it again. I can't sit because so many captain him as well. The effective ownership's always sky high. So I bought him in 1 week early, but I had the money to do it. So look, my transfers were fairly simple. I made them early because of the price rises and falls. So Salah came in for Foden, and then Brewster came in for Timo Werner, and Werner was dropping quick. So I bought in Brewster very quickly before that first Werner drop of the game week, and he's since dropped 0.2. So I'm really pleased I pulled the trigger early on that. And look, the only way of me getting Salah for Foden was to bring in Brewster. My plan was always Salah or Sterling, not to have two of them and disrupt my team. But after watching Sterling, I just feel like it's dangerous bringing him out. I still like having that Man City double up differential. And yeah, I could have had De Bruyne and Foden, but I'm not sure we can guarantee Foden's minutes now. And I was only willing to go to Foden when I knew we could guarantee his minutes, and we could guarantee them before the break. Now I'm not so sure. And there's an argument to say if you bought in Foden, you've got to ride the wave and keep him all season. Well, yes, if that's your long-term plan, but mine wasn't. Mine was a short-term Man City hit. And I did that. And now, it didn't pay off, but I still want the double up. And to get that midfield, I was like, wow, I can have this midfield four. It means I've got to start Brewster most weeks. I think he's going to start for Sheffield United. I think while he pulled out the under-21 side, but I think he'll be fit. Wilder did say he'll feature against Fulham. This was before the international break. He's the record signing. I think he'll get a good run in the team. If he does well and scores goals, he'll stay in the team. The problem is they've got like 6 recognised forwards at the club. We know Wilder plays 2 of them, but he always rotates them, and he tends to bring them off after 60, 70 minutes as well. But look, if Brewster gets 60 minutes and starts every game at 4.5 million, I'm happy.
Do you actually think that? I mean, I think bringing in Salah is a good option. I don't know if he's. I mean, I've got him as well. I don't know what to think about this week, because last week I was thinking they've not got Gomez, they've not got Allen, they're going to struggle. And then Sigurdsson came in and played a blinder. So did Tom Davis. And a really good point by James on Planet FPL, because I remember watching the game thinking, this is the best I've seen Sigurdsson for ages. And he made the point that these players now have to play like that because they're never getting back into the team otherwise. I thought that was a really good point. So I'm not sure how easy Salah is going to have it against Everton, but I fully get you. Like, going without Liverpool players is such a hard watch. So the midfield looks class, but having to play Brewster every week, how long do you think that can last? Because it's not... I mean, they probably will start. They spent so much money on him. It's not like they've got goals from their other strikers. But it's Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea after this week. Do you think you can see a situation where you maybe try and upgrade Burke or Brewster by, I don't know, downgrading someone like De Bruyne at some point?
Yeah, Brewster starting isn't a long-term plan. I was happy to start him this week, and I'm happy to start him in easier fixtures if he's a starter, of course. But look, Fulham at home, I was just like, this is a perfect debut for the lad. Home fixture against one of the weakest teams in the league defensively. They haven't been scoring goals. They haven't been playing. They've been playing all right, actually. But I just think he'll start. So I want him in my 11 this week. And there's going to be long term, the plan is Jimenez out. Jimenez could become a Watkins or a Morpie, for example. That allows me to then upgrade a defender and potentially play 4-4-2. Or it allows a lot of things.
Yeah, if you go Jimenez to Watkins, that gives you 2.6. You could almost go Brewster to like an Antonio or more pay. I actually think that kind of a Calvert-Lewin as the highest price forward line is what a lot of people are going to go to soon.
Yeah.
Like, talking about Jimenez downgrade, because I'll be honest, I've just brought him in and I'm already thinking about how I get rid of him. Just not been impressed at all. What's your general feeling with Wolves?
I mean, the fixtures turn soon, so look, Jimenez might not be out straight away next week, but it's Leeds, Newcastle, and then Palace. So that is a set of 3 good fixtures, but then it turns. So I think I'll give Jimenez a couple of games, but yeah, to downgrade him, I can then upgrade a Burke if I want to keep Brewster, for example, and then I play with a 5-man midfield. But no, I mean, look, Wolves haven't looked great, but I do genuinely believe they will crack it and they will be good. You know, this is a team that we're going to get could have got top 4 on the final day of the season if they had got a result and results had gone their way. They haven't got European football this season. The squad is still very similar. Yes, the Johnny's out and Doherty's been sold. Jota's been sold, but he wasn't exactly nailed last season. He missed a few games. I do think Nuno will crack this team. He just needs time to perhaps get back to playing the 3-4-3. We saw him playing a lot of 3-5-2 last year, and looks like he's set on the 3-4-3. Or indeed, he might revert back and go, look, 3-5-2 worked for us. Let's get Dendoncker in the middle with Moutinho and Neves, because that's where they're losing. They're not bossing games, in my opinion, because they've just got Neves and Moutinho. Put Dendoncker in there, they'll win so much more of the ball, and then play a top 2 with Jimenez and Traore. That's dangerous, and it worked so well for them last year. And they've signed a really good left wing back. The French lad's highly rated from Rennes. Semedo's got pedigree, although I'm not his biggest fan. But, you don't play for Barcelona unless you're a decent enough player. So I think Wolves will be okay. I just still don't know if they're going to score bundles of goals. And therefore, 8.5 on a Wolves attacker could be seen as a bit too heavy when there's so many budget forwards doing well. Watkins, Maupay, I like both those guys.
Yeah, and I think, again, there's been a lot of talk already for someone that's we're not even looking at getting in for another 4 game weeks. But game week 8, Antonio, another cheap striker that everyone's already talking about. And as long as he's injury-free, he's going to be a huge bandwagon. So there are lots of cheap strikers. I've actually just written, by the time this video goes out, the article will already be live. But I basically talked about Wolves and Man City and how they're both performing less or worse than they did last year. Now, it's only only 4 games, or 3 for Man City, so it's a very small sample size, but I think patience for both of them, because I also wrote about Man United. I was like, no patience there, it's just time to get rid. They're looking awful. But I think these 2 teams, like, Nuno's the kind of manager, like you said, that can turn it around, right? So let's give them a bit more time, but I can still see in the back of everyone's mind, including mine, that Jimenez is on the hit list for potentially going. Let's talk about your back line, which I think looks quite good actually. Lamptey, Saiss and Martinez. Like Aston Villa, again, another side that have improved quite a lot since post-lockdown, even into the start of this season. But James is obviously now a bit of an issue, the Chelsea fan. I mean, it's one of those...
He'll be fine.
Yeah, but will he though? Because the thing is, I was thinking, he looks like he's got his place now. A couple of games where Azpilicueta started in the cup, but now Azpilicueta's played. It's like, yeah, of course, that's obvious. The guy has played like nearly every minute for the last 2 or 3 seasons. Why would he suddenly lose his place? So, how confident? I mean, maybe he'll start this week, but long term, what's your thoughts with him now?
I just want to see more of him in the Premier League, James, to judge it. My thoughts with Frank were, when I went with James, I was still thinking Frank will think about the back 3 and wing backs, which worked really well for him last year. Doesn't look like he's going there. If he had, James is nailed, because Azpilicueta plays right centre back, James is the wing back. The benefit of playing Azpilicueta in that Palace game, however, I was not surprised to see James dropped. I know he was in my starting 11, but Palace's threat is down the left. Zaha drifts left. Eze was playing on the left, and I just felt with those skills and that pace, Azpilicueta, I'm not saying he's rapid, but he knows how to play against tricky wingers. So it was a very safe bet for Frank to nullify that threat down the left and play Azpilicueta on the right. Reece James also needed a bit of a rest. He'd played a lot of games, started them all at the start of the season. So look, the fear is Azpilicueta doesn't get called up to Spain anymore. He's been in Windsor. Follow him on Instagram. He's been chilling in Windsor, having his afternoon tea with his wife, and he'll be fresh. And James would have been playing in the internationals for England, coming back, wouldn't have been training for 2 weeks. And I just worry a little bit. Saying that, I do think James will play way more than Azpilicueta at right back in the Premier League this season. But at 5 million, I want someone playing every week. So look, I might have to move him on, but I'm going to give him a few more games. Or maybe I ride the wave and I go, in every 3 or 4 games, he might miss one. If he does, he's probably not going to come on as a sub. Therefore, I've just got to make sure I've got a strong enough squad. And at the moment, I don't. I can't rely on Mitchell long term because Patrick Van Aanholt is back and probably not match fit, but will be starting soon enough. And Dunn doesn't look like he's going to get the nod. I was hoping Burnley would sell Tarkowski and then Dunn would be considered, but they didn't do that. So I'm going to need to upgrade a little bit. So with that Jimenez money, whilst I want to upgrade Burke probably, I'll also need to upgrade one of my budget defenders.
Yeah, I think Jimenez down to a 6.5 or less will give you all the money to do that. It's just how many moves you have to take it in. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see what happens with James because he's very exciting when he plays. But I think I don't want to say like he's a bad defender. I think that's just such an easy thing to say, a bit like with Trent Alexander-Arnold. But there's an assurity there with Azpilicueta that you probably don't have with Reece James. And so I wonder how often Frank will make that change. But obviously, attacking-wise, there's not really any comparison. Like, James is so good. So if he does start for Southampton, it could be a big score. So yeah, I think the team's looking solid. I love that. I love the midfield 4. I mean, you've got to be hoping for big points. Last thing I'll ask you about, considering that midfield 4, is Salah definitely your captain this week?
No, I'm really torn on it, Andy. I'm really torn. And it could be any of those guys. It's going to be a midfielder. I like the Son fixture to West Ham. I know West Ham have been good at the back, but I like Spurs fresh off scoring 7 at Old Trafford. Sorry to rub it in.
Just 6. It was just 6. We're not as bad as Liverpool.
Damn. Oh, yeah, Liverpool was the 7-2. Damn. But yeah, I mean, what I like about Son and Salah this week is, and Sterling, although he's doubtful, no international football. So Salah and Son, we both know are fit and they've not been called up. And I think that will come into my thinking to give one of those guys the armband. Look, you could chuck it on De Bruyne and Sterling and think, yes, they're flagged, but if they do, they're probably not going to come on as a sub. They're either going to play, a bit like Son last week. We knew he was either going to start or not feature at all. And that'll be the same with De Bruyne and Sterling this week. But look, I'm pretty sure it'll be Salah or Son. A lot of the wildcarders are looking at a Spurs double up, which is, I can see the appeal of having a Kane and a Son short term. So I'm a little bit worried about that. And because of that, I think Son, has a good chance of getting it. But at the same time, Salah is in the early kickoff. I've missed him. I've missed not having Mo. So maybe I will be, yes, Everton are good, but Aston Villa were good. Aston Villa were brilliant. And Salah still, I think, had 2 shots and got 2 goals, and he'll get opportunities against Everton. This season, Salah looks way more clinical than I remember. I think it was three seasons ago he got like 30-odd goals in the Premier League. But after that, he's been getting to 19 and 20. And last season, he was wasting so many big chances in Project Restart. But this season, he's so deadly. Which begs the question, why the hell did I go without him for a few weeks? I just fancied Sterling, didn't I? I was trying to be too differential maybe, but yeah, it'll be one of them.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, one of the things people talk about in FPL is not being stubborn, and you weren't stubborn. You've realised that you need Salah. He's in. Whether or not, Foden or De Bruyne are out, was the right call. We'll have to wait and see for a few more weeks. If De Bruyne and Sterling start against Arsenal, I just think that's a really good fixture still. We don't know how good Partey's going to be for them. I mean, obviously he's come with a big reputation, but how quickly will he integrate? And obviously at the back, Arsenal haven't been fantastic. So I think, obviously we're just speculating. Like you sent me this screenshot over a little bit earlier today. Like, we're recording on Tuesday evening, so De Bruyne is not even flagged in it yet, but he is now. But I think Sterling definitely will be all right. De Bruyne, let's wait and see. So I don't think it's a huge issue, but as always, we're going to have to wait for the press conference. So yeah, good luck this week. Hopefully it's another green arrow. I think it was over 1 million places last week. So hopefully same again this week as well.
I've got a lot of making up to do. And if De Bruyne is out, I'm not going to be panicking with 4-point hits to ship him on, because look, he's someone I want long term. So, as long as he's not out for 3-4 weeks, he'll be staying on my team. If he's benched and I have a poor sub come in, then so be it. It's Kevin De Bruyne. I can't sell him ahead of Gameweek 6.
Fair enough. Nice and decisive before West Ham away in Game Week 6. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Just before we end, I'm gonna show you my picks for Fantasy 5. So there are links in the description if you want to check this out. It's so simple. potential to win 10 grand. Basically, just to quickly show you, right? So they put a points total for each player, and the scoring is very similar to FPL. The only thing that's not in there is bonus points. So Werner 9.5, he would have to score 2 goals to get to 10 points, and obviously play the 60 plus minutes to get the 2 minutes playing, 2 points playing time as well. So you'd have to back that he's going to score 2 goals or more. So it's tricky because like Danny Ings is 6.5, so he also needs kind of 2 returns as well against Chelsea. So I'm actually going to pick Werner as my Chelsea pick, right? Because there's all this talk about high lines, etc. This might be the game for him. I mean, he ain't going to keep going through games not scoring, and I've got rid of him now, so I feel like it's a good time to play him. What do you think about that pick?
I'm hoping that high lines chat you're referring to is sparked off by me, because I've been banging that drum for a long time. Look, I really didn't want to sell Werner ahead of this fixture. I just had to get Salah in. I think he scores. I 2, maybe not, but look, this is the perfect game for Timo Werner. He was good against Brighton on the opening day for Chelsea because they played high, and this will be similar.
Yeah, fair enough. For the Man City versus Arsenal game, I've gone for a little bit of a different tactic because obviously everyone's going to be drawn towards Man City, but let's say Sterling and De Bruyne might miss out, or there might be doubts or whatever. Again, they've got to kind of get, I think, 3 returns looking at the scores, whereas Aubameyang's only got to get 1 goal, 1 assist to beat the 8.5. So I don't think Man City are necessarily that assured at the back just yet. Still, to be fair, it's been a while. So I'm actually going to go for Aubameyang for this one. Do you think Arsenal can get anything from Man City?
Look, I think they can score. City's defence, they need to know who their back 4 is, and look, Aubameyang can get at Kyle Walker, who's not the best defensively, although he's got great recovery speed. Aubameyang, I wouldn't be surprised if he picks up 1. I'd still be looking at a City player in this fixture though, but my love for overcommitting to City.
Yeah, well, look, it'll pay off at some point. There's no way they can keep going like they have been. I'll just quickly go through the rest. So, Neil Maupay is the one I'm going for Crystal Palace. I think I chose him last time as well against Man United when he got the penalty. So 6.5, he has to get 2 attacking returns as well. But I feel like he's probably the best option from those lot. And I've actually brought him into my team, so I'm quite happy with that pick. And then the West Ham Spurs game. So I think Spurs will look really good. I don't know if there is, like, Son 12.5 points he has to beat. That's high, right? Mikel Antonio 6.5. He would need 2 attacking returns. So do you know what I'm going for? I'm going to go for a guy that only needs 1 attacking return, or 1 goal at least, and that is Fornals. I think he's looked. Yeah, I know that's a very outside bet, but I guess sometimes you got to do this for these type of games.
Man, I like it.
Yeah, I'm going Fornals. 1 goal. That's all he needs to beat it.
Mate, Moyes loves Fornals. Look at the players he doesn't play. He's let Felipe Anderson go. Lanzini can't get a game. He loves Fornals, so he's going to start. Did he get an assist last time out as well?
I think he scored once or twice already this season as well. I feel like he's got some kind of return. So yeah, I think 5.5 points is potential for him to beat that. Antonio, if he was listed as a midfielder, I'd definitely go for him. But two returns against Spurs, I think is tricky. And then lastly, the last game is Leeds versus Wolves, which I think could be tight. I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of goals in this, which Jimenez for 10.5 points just really puts me off. So Rodrigo I would go for if I thought he was going to start. So in this one, I'm going to go for a defender. I think I did this for Leeds last time. I'm going for Dallas. So he would need a clean sheet and an assist or a goal. But I think there's potential there. I'm worried as a Jimenez owner what's going to happen in this game. I think Leeds can make it tough. I agree, a 3-5-2 would probably work better in this one. Will Nuno play it? I don't know. So yeah, Dallas is my final pick. And that's basically all there is to it. So you just need to confirm your selection and job done. So if anyone wants to try it out, link in the description below. All the links to kind of Be Gamble Aware and Fantasy 5 are there. So if you want to go and pick your 5, if you think you can do better, potentially win 10 grand, like I said, it's completely free. Give it a go. Gianni, thanks very much for joining me.
No, thank you for having me, mate. Fingers crossed, another green arrow. Got a lot of work to do. But yeah, the fun starts now, doesn't it?
Exactly, and there isn't another international break for 4 weeks either, so hopefully it'll go well for the next 4 and you get a nice break, relaxing break, knowing that you've got 4 green arrows on the way. So yeah, fingers crossed for that. If you have enjoyed the video, please do make sure to give it a like, subscribe if you're new to Fantasy Football Scout as well, and I'll say bye, Gianni.
Good stuff. Thank you, mate. See you later.
And see you later, everyone. We'll catch you tomorrow for another video.